Setting up your meeting. And we are live. I'm going to click record and record. Hello, everyone. It's an impromptu opportunity for you to join our star sister friends here in the Holistic Health Happy Hour, but it's not full moon, new moon chat. This is something a little bit different, but yet the same. So I'm Julie Sherwood, your Best Hopes Wellness Coaching. I do root cause therapy method. I do 13 sign constellational astrology, solution focused wellness coaching, and Reiki. So I have it all going on, mind, body, spirit. So I'm joined here by my Holistic Health Happy Hour co-hostess. Maria, tell everybody about you and what you do.
Hi, I'm Maria Schumacher. I am also a 13 sign constellational astrologer. I do Holistic Health Happy Hour every other week with my buddy Julie, where we talk about how the lunations affect you and your health. I am also a practicing witch for over 30 years, and I have another esoteric offerings on my website, Venus-13. Venus-13.com. And I write a daily astrology blog for Facebook and for my patrons. My patrons get a little extra something sometime, but so that's Maria's Daily Charts at patreon.com, and my daily astro blogs are on Cosmic Reflections Facebook page and Radical Astrology Facebook page. So
She's out
seven
there.
things.
And we are also joined by a dear star sister that I met actually through constellational astrology almost 7 years ago now. We are joined here by Melody Bear in Canberra, Australia. We've kept our friendship going that long. So very exciting. So Melody, you want to tell the audience a little bit about what you do and how you connect to the spirit world, if you will?
Yes, I'm a shamanic drummer and I'm also a singer-songwriter. So my songs tend to be a bit mystical on the whole. Um, but the shamanic drumming, I'm running a drum circle at the moment in Canberra, and the drumming, the drumming, it raises your frequency. It alters your it induces an altered state without any other necessary means of doing it. And I've been doing that since 2002, the shamanic drumming. I've been singing and writing songs for longer. I don't have a much of a presence on I've got a Zoom room. I've got a YouTube channel that I put assorted stuff up on, mostly songs. But I don't have and a Facebook, Melody Bear, but I don't do offerings online. In fact, yes, I'm kind of,
Very,
I'm holding on to an amateur status here.
very community based. So for the people,
Yes.
Yes, I like to bring community together, which is my main aim is community. And I found this great community online with the astrologers. I mean, the astrologers, constellational astrologers, are the best people. I've got so many friends in America and other places, but mostly in America through the astrology. And I mostly use that for myself rather than doing stuff for other people, but I find it a really great guide and help. And being able to chat with astrologer friends who are more deeply into it is really useful to me.
yes, we have found such a sisterhood in connecting with each other just
For
honestly.
sure. Chatting with you is useful to us too, Melody. You're such an inspiration and a supportive friend in all of our crazy ideas. Like, oh, that sounds like a good idea, you guys. Does it? Okay.
Yes, and Chiron. I got Julie really sort of tuned into Chiron because I was always going, and where's Chiron? What's Chiron doing?
Yes, and for those who don't know, he's a little asteroid that just kind of hangs out and creates all sorts of trauma and wounds and pain and suffering. And oh, I'm sorry, did I say that in my big girl voice? But if you know how to work with Chiron, actually, it can be an amazing healer and process that you can bring to life to help others once you understand how your Chiron works. So that was a great digression. Anyway, speaking of healers, speaking of healing, holistic health. Now, disclaimers, none of us are physicians, healthcare practitioners, other than what we've already mentioned in the certifications and work that we do. So we are not giving you medical or healthcare advice. Seek your own professional advice if you have any concerns or wishes to connect to anything that we may suggest here. So there's our disclaimer. So there you go. So, Maria, you and I were chatting. And we were chatting about different ways we could bring together the things that we do and also add in the umbrella of constellational 13 sign astrology.
We were chatting. It's like we're each other's biggest fans. We are the mutual support and admiration society. It's true. And Julie has this amazing offering that she provides in the root cause therapy. I mean, I do root cause therapy as if that's a small thing. I mean, it's a tremendous, tremendous process. It's a tremendous tool for your inner healing. Root cause therapy, just getting to the root cause of what is really going on with you spiritually, psychically, physically. A lot of us have, I mean, a lot of times what is manifesting itself physically in us has a root cause that is not physical at all.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to have some guy. Now, again, we do have to disclaim that we're not medical professionals here. That having been said, this is out of years and years of experience of working with actual people and going through our own healing journeys, that finding the root cause of something is a more permanent and a more profound way of healing yourself than simply medicating. So this just goes beyond palliative, even palliative spiritual care. You know, you can't always, well, I'm just going to be love and light then and everything will be fine. Right?
Until it's not.
Yeah, because I can hold love and light all the time. Sure. Especially when I come up against invisible triggers that I didn't even know I had.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Root cause therapy, right? It's a really profound and powerful experience. And I have been blessed to go through it with Julie. She has shared this process with me. So I can attest to its benefit. And frankly, I think the world needs more of it. So I am here to plug my friend Julie Sherwood. In that there is no better guide for you, no more compassionate, intelligent, sensitive, and patient, and frankly just loving. Julie is a loving person, and that lovingness comes through in her work. That I'm not making it up. Am I right, Melody?
No, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yes,
mean,
she's very supportive.
Thank you,
yeah.
guys. You know, and it's easy when you're doing what you love. Honestly, I mean, it really makes a huge difference to do the things that you love. And it's not work, it's a passion, it's a mission. Um, and you know, I think the beauty of it, and we're hearing a lot, you know, it's interesting because now that I've had this training and the certification, I hear the words a little more intuitive, not intuitively, I'm more in tune with hearing root cause. And we're hearing a lot about that. Let's get to the root cause of this.
Mhm.
And it's not, I don't throw it out in a, well, let's just get to the root of it. It is like Maria said, it's a very profound process. And what we're looking for is getting to where did something start that creates a response in us in a way that we don't oftentimes expect, but it just keeps happening over and over and over again. And instead of having a coping mechanism to go along with um, just getting through it every time it happens, whatever the trigger is, whatever the event happens to be that incites this response, we go to the point where it all started. And it may very well, if you believe in this, may very well be past lives. It could be generational, ancestral, it could be at birth, it could be immediately after birth. There's a variety of scenarios where the root first event could have planted its seed and then shows up through your life. So when you go through the process of getting to the root of the situation, that oftentimes is created due to a fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response because of an intense event or a traumatic event, and the emotions get stuffed down. So then you have this physiological response, really, because you never processed those emotions. So we go through this process, and then what happens is after that, you're in an integration rewiring phase. You've uprooted something maybe from several lifetimes ago, several generations ago, that you've been carrying through your DNA. And all of a sudden, you've yanked that thing out by the root. Now there's this big hole in the ground. And you've got to rewire, you've got to put the dirt in, you've got to make that hole so that it's a whole, W-H-O-L-U, W-H-O-L-E-U. And this is where what Maria does comes in as well. So let's talk about sacred writing and how we might marry those, and then we can put the astrology on top of that.
Oh, okay. So yeah, my one of my favorite things to do, one of my offerings is something that I call sacred writing, because words have power, both
Mhm.
spoken and written. And the act of writing is as profound as casting a spell.
Mhm. That's why they call it spelling.
That is why they call it spelling.
Mhm.
Yes, exactly. And that is why they call them spells, because you write. So what I have come up with is a little kit, and I call it sacred writing, where I will talk about a topic with people. I do them like individually, but in a group. Um, in one-on-one, you would talk to me and talk to me about the issue that you're facing. Say you're going through, you want to undergo some root cause therapy to deal with some recurring feelings of trauma that come up whenever you have Thanksgiving with Uncle Bob. I'm throwing it out there, right? So then you know that that's what you're going to work on with Julie. Then you might come to me saying, I would like a sacred writing to assist me in feeling empowered in this work. Okay, so then I can put my years of witchcraft to bear on this and identify a particular star, create a sacred writing for you, and then collect the herbs, collect the stones, collect whatever little physical bits you might need to get it done, and I'll send it to you in a little kit with instructions like, this is your sacred writing just for you in this situation.
Mhm.
Um, and I did one for Julie. Julie has had one, so maybe she can tell you more about what it's like to be on the receiving end of one of those.
Yeah, and so for me, it was now as a root cause therapy practitioner, part of my certification is I had to go through sessions myself and experience them myself. And then also, once certified, it is highly suggested by the training organization that we at least do it once a month in exchange with a fellow practitioner, so that we constantly are working on ourselves too. And so I'm speaking from the point of experience as well. But in my particular case, there was something I was struggling with that was relative to the eighth house in astrology. The eighth house, it can be some tough stuff. It's death, rebirth. It's the hidden, the occult, the shadow work, the deep fears. It's also intimacy. It's sharing of resources, partnerships. It's I think it is one of the most complex houses when we talk about the house system. And So Maria and I talked about it, and she came up with, let me put a kit together for you. So she did, and I'm still working through it. And so she wrapped in the number 8 because we're working on the 8th house, and I have a series of 8 different markers on the calendar where I do a certain, or I connect to the process, the ritual, if you will, at that time. And then the other piece of it is that I note my own observations in a journal because that's what that resonates with me. Others may do it differently, right? Some people don't like to write and don't like to journal. That's your gig, that's fine. But that's, I would imagine, Maria, that's something that you would talk about. Like, let's say Melody said, I don't journal, but I'm a songwriter. Can you give me some ideas of how to use this sacred writing ritual for me where I can use the songwriting as a way to process it?
Heck yeah. Yeah. Heck yeah, we can do that. So yeah. Um, and these things would go right in line with one another. In Melody's case, then we would want her to use that in concert with the musical component that runs through her, right? That she could come up with a drumming for herself, a rhythm for herself, some music for herself that is just all right. So in addition to the spell and the root cause therapy work, you get further support of that music.
Mm-hmm. And we know frequency is healing too. So, drum beats have a frequency. Of course, music everything has a frequency. And so if you are working on that root situation, that limiting belief or those intense emotions that you're trying to clear, there may be a particular rhythm that works to help with that rewiring, to fill that hole of dirt, that hole was left by pulling something up by a root, to rewire and reintegrate. So,
but yes, and so then we would want to know that about you. So if Melody were not just our friend but also our client here, then we would want to know that music is a part of you and how deeply that is incorporated into your being and your well-being, so that we can encourage you to make it part of the healing process and bring it more out, because all of this is meant to empower us, as we do our own inner work. So Julie's root cause therapy is the profound, all right, let's get down in there and let's get in there with the roto-rooter and bring up all of the nasty stuff. And yeah, and there you are, weeping and shaking and screaming and all of the things that, you know, happen with a profound emotional release.
yes.
And it ain't pretty, and so not only do you want somebody that you really trust. Yeah, that is exactly what I looked like too, Melody. What? It ain't pretty, and you want somebody that you trust and who loves you and understands that, they're about to see a very ugly side of you. And then you want to be able to fill back in with some truly empowering and supportive spiritual stuff. So,
Yeah. And in fact, you had posted on the daily today, just commented on it just where we hopped on, the
oh,
mind body spirit connection, and how they are a complex system, that they are intertwined. And you can't work with one without the others.
you really can't, not to any lasting effect.
No, no, that's it. And so you're yanking up the situation by that root. And again, I still just keep envisioning this big hole where that ugly plant was sitting there. And as you said, it's a purging of emotions because there are all these emotions that have been kept tamped down in the hole under the root, right? So when you've expressed that, even if, let's say, I do the session right now, and then you immediately go to, say, some drumming work with Melody, and then you go right away to your sacred writing kit from Maria, it's not done at the end of the 2 hours, right? This
No.
is a process. This is, you're yanking up stuff from potentially generations ago. So it's not like, okay, today's Friday, tomorrow's Saturday, I'm all good. It might be 2 weeks from now that something hits you like a freight train, like, oh, I never saw that because it was so buried. And now
Yeah.
you've opened it up, and now there's other things that can come up to be released. It's not to be afraid of, but to be released. And having these other tools to go through that process later are an incredible benefit. So that's how we got this conversation going. So I would love to give the example that I was talking about when we were in the green room, because I think it'll tie into what you're offering right now. So we're in Virgo season. In constellational astrology, yes, we are in Virgo season. And this is the one time a year that they both kind of overlap, constellational and tropical. But the stars of Virgo, one of the areas that they rule or oversee, because we're trying to get away from that word rule, is your health, your actual daily routine health. And if you've got a procedure coming up where you've got to go face the knife, or you got to go do something that's outside of just your usual, hey doc, I'm here, and you have a huge fear of it. Let's say every time that you have to go in, even for something very minor that you are just like, or a dental procedure. I know a lot of people don't like that business, right? You do a root cause therapy method session with me. We get to where it came from. Maybe it was you were a dentist in a past life and somebody got angry with you for the procedure and killed you. I mean, it could be like that, right? So then we work through those emotions of the fear and the trauma and all of that. We clear all of that. Now you are ready to go into that appointment where you're having the procedure, but you're still like rewiring and getting it all ready. But then Maria has this beautiful kit. So tell us a little bit about the Virgo kit and how somebody might use what
So,
you've
well,
got.
it isn't so much the Virgo kit as the star, a
Yeah.
particular star. A particular star called to me right now, and this is where it gets a little witchy astro deep. So bear with me, those of you who aren't, crazy astrologers like I am. One of the constellations in the vicinity of Virgo, right? So as the moon passes, or the sun passes through Virgo, a constellation right under it, from our perspective in the northern hemisphere, is called Corvi, Corvus, which is Latin for the raven or the crow.
Mhm.
And a bright star of that called Algorab just hooked my fancy this year. It's like the right wing of the raven. Ooh, that sounds cool. So I just created a little sacred writing kit in order to work with the raven and crow energies as they relate to this whole Virgo season, right? So it's just a good one to connect with right now, because um, as we're looking to connect with our bodies more in terms of health, the crow has protection medicine, it has communication medicine, it has warding, um, it has just good juju that you kind of want right now. So you want to be able to see clearly what's wrong. You want to be able to communicate with your own body. You want to be able to protect yourself against outside influences that are not for your best and highest good. And you want to be able to get to the truth of a situation, and you want to be able to have completely honest communication. And I think that's the main aspect of it, is because we can be perfectly honest without being truthful, because simply we don't always know the truth. But as long as we're honest, we're still in our integrity, right? We're still in our healing journey. And so these are things that are important as we take medical messages from other professionals, you know what I mean? Being able to discern what is true and what is false, what is honest and what is dishonest, is a good thing. And these are great things for that raven energy to help with. Um, and yeah, I'm sorry. you were just telling me, Julie, about a person who actually has Raven as her totem animal right now that she's going, yeah?
Yeah, yeah, it's one of many, but that's one. Yeah, and I can just see where, you know, if you have the associated totem of the crow or the raven or whatever other ones are associated with the other stars, let's say, like the eagle or whatever, and
Mhm.
you use the ritual kit, the ritual within the kit to connect to that energy, I can see where you also can pull down the messages from that spirit.
Mhm.
And Melody, you've talked many times about working with the different spirits in terms of animal presence, and how to pull that in so the person gets ready to go into their procedure and it's like, okay, I'm going to bring in this beautiful energy of the crow or the raven to protect me while I go through this procedure. So
Mhm.
that's another way I can work with having cleared the fear of it, but I still want that protection, right?
Yes, crow is an interesting one. My shamanic teacher was called Medicine Crow, and
Oh,
he talked about crow being about change. Was
mm-hmm.
what he talked about. He also said a lot of people are afraid of crow medicine, but it's nothing to be afraid of, really. It's a beautiful energy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Crow has the reputation for being a trickster, but that's because they're very, very intelligent. Crow and Raven can't be tricked, really. And
No,
I think, yeah, yeah. And that's they're a great energy to call on for that kind of protection, like just, you know, help me to know when I'm being tricked.
Well, and
Oh,
that's funny because that actually ties into how the root cause therapy method works. So how do I know what your limiting beliefs are or what areas need to be worked on where, we can get to the root of it? And it's like you can say with your cognizant awareness, oh, I know I have a problem with, or no, no way do I have a problem with that. And you're being honest as far as you can tell, right? There's that honesty.
yes.
But when we use muscle testing to connect to the kinesiological response of the unconscious mind, we get to the truth, right? So, like if I said, to somebody through a intake process, and we talk about, let's say, abandonment, fear of abandonment. Oh no, I have no fear of abandonment. There's no way. I'm totally fine. I have a family around me and all that. And then you do the muscle testing, and it's like it tests as limiting. You do fear abandonment because the unconscious mind knows the truth.
Yeah.
See?
And at that point you'll start crying probably because
Well, not
at least in Maria world, whenever I hit a deep, profound truth, Niagara Falls, right there it comes.
uh, I know the feeling. Yes.
Yeah,
well, Libra moon with Neptune.
yeah. Try.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to see what's in the
Yes,
kit for
yes,
this
yes, yes,
one?
yes.
You want to see?
Yes.
You can show them yours too, if Julie, if you wanted to, but because
Oh, it's
the
all
ones I
labor.
do for individuals are all a little different. But
Yeah. You know what I can do is I can grab the little artwork that you did. I'll grab
oh,
that
if you
piece.
want, okay.
Yeah, because the rest of it's all laid out.
So it'll come, in a little envelope, and then you get your little box with this one and the papers, one of which will be instructions, one of which will be the writing that I do for you, and then the other will be just paper to write your own sacred writing upon, because that's going to be part of it. And then our little box, the box has, check it out.
Ooh,
So we've got a candle, and
yes.
it's black because the color for the star Algorab is black. And
Ah,
yep, and the candle holder because right. And then a little packet of herbs. This is a packet of herbs. Burdock is the herb that is sacred to the star Algorab. So I've got some burdock that I grew in my own backyard, right? A little bit of root chopped up, a little bit of dried leaf. And so you'll use this as incense that you can burn right in the box, right? You could
See, I
burn
think that's
incense in here.
amazing. The fact that you
Yep.
can do it right there.
Yeah. And a little piece of obsidian because that's the stone sacred to the star. So we've got sort of everything you need to get in touch with the sacred energies of that star. Little box with the candle.
I love it.
That's very cool.
With the invocation, the sacred writing that I do, and a piece of paper for the sacred writing that you will do.
And I was just thinking, because I was looking at the box, and I would imagine that once, or well, not necessarily, it could be at any point, you could decorate your box yourself once you receive
Yeah.
it. Because it's plain, and you could stickers or paint or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. This could always be your Raven Crow magic box.
Yeah. So here, and this, correct me if I'm wrong. So, oops, this is my writing, and I would imagine this was all handwritten by you.
Yes.
Look
I write them all by hand.
That is stunning to me. And then, because we were dealing with the 8th house, I have 8 little windows in my homemade little house. I mean, it is beautiful. It's all hand done. And there's little doors that open, and behind the doors, one of the things I'm working with are tarot cards, all associated with the number 8. So every 8 days, I open another window, sort of like an advent calendar. That's what I keep thinking. Advent calendar. And I mean, it's just, so if I can
it's your house, and it has 8 windows, so 8 houses.
see, like there's the 8, it's hard to see because the focus, but where my finger is the 8 of swords. If you look at the Rider Waite deck, you'll see that it looks like the 8 of swords. So right now I'm working with the strength card. That's my card to be working with right now, right where my fingers are there. It's kind of hard to see because of the glare, but anyway. But I mean, this alone is just, when I opened the package myself, I was like, she hand did all this stuff. It's beautiful. This isn't printed off a computer. This is hand done. So the other piece of that is not only your care and the beauty and the creativity, you're bringing your beautiful healing energy into it as you put the pen to the paper. And I don't want to underestimate that. I think, especially in this world of AI and Chat GPT and all that, it all has its place, to each his own. But we lose that spiritual, beautiful, energetic connection when we stop using the pen to paper. And I think that's important. I think that's one of the most beautiful things about this beautiful offering that you have, is because there's a piece of Maria in it.
Well, thank you for that. But there are physical things here, and I thought it was important that that you get actual physical things to work with, not just instructions that you then have to sort of follow blindly. It's like, no, this is going to be everything that you need with instructions, and just to get, so that we don't get things physically in the mail anymore either, unless we order them from Amazon, right? But how often does somebody create something physical specially for you?
Right. And I'm telling you, when you get the thing from Amazon, it doesn't have a special note in it for you. I think that's, again, I don't want to undervalue that, because we don't have that element in our lives much anymore, so yeah, I would take a handmade card any day, anytime, any day, and I'm not talking it has to be like this, work of art that has to go hang in a gallery somewhere. It's the care and the energy and the love that goes into it. And that is part of a healing process, right? You've just ripped out something by the root, and the last thing you want is the plastic thing that, might sort of feel good. This is beautiful. And it makes it very personal and very special, so I think that's important. I don't want to underestimate that. So
yeah, it's lovely. It's a really nice idea.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, and that handmade stuff is really important. On actual doing stuff and making stuff. And
oh yeah, can you imagine somebody who had creative blockages, if that was part of their issue that they're trying to work through, like, oh, I'm not creative, I'm terrible, I don't do, limiting beliefs, right? So you clear what that's been holding, why that's been holding you up, and then imagine the beautiful sacred writing kit you could make for that. I mean,
Oh, yeah, seriously. It's
you
like
know,
your sacred writing kit contains a whole bunch of paper and colored pencils because you're not blocked anymore.
yep,
Go for it.
yeah.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
mean, the possibilities are endless. And then the other thing too is you can reuse, so let's say the person does the Corvus kit, the Raven kit, and then, this time next year they find that they're still struggling with a few things or something new but similar comes along, you still have the kit. So you can use, or, hey Maria, I could use a little bit more along this lines. Could we add to the kit? This is something similar but a little different.
Yeah.
Sure, there are different ways that you can really customize and use elements of it that you used the first time.
Well, and that's it. I think that more than anything, especially again, as we get this more and more online, more and more connected, like, and I want to knock online because it's given us melody, right?
Well,
We would
you would think
not
that
have
all of us,
melody in our
yeah,
lives if it weren't for online.
right,
But
Well,
then
and
how
Julie
do we
as well. You and Julie
yeah,
would have,
I
you two,
know we
you
would
two
have
would
none
have
of
met
this if
except
it weren't for
online and
yeah.
yeah.
astrology.
We are
So
connected
then
by the stars, literally.
for sure. But then,
Yeah,
how do we take that and make it personal,
yeah,
so that the healing modalities aren't just, okay, so here are some tips and tricks that we have tried, now go and try to figure out how to apply that to yourself. It's like, no, we are still like Julie is right with you. This is not, try to figure out how to apply this to yourself. No, I'm going to walk you through it and be there every step of the
yes,
way.
yeah,
The partnership.
And that's what I wanted the sacred writing kits to be about too, is just like, no, I have talked to you,
Mhm,
and there's a physical piece of me coming physically to you to
mhm,
yeah,
help you in this.
mhm,
yes,
mhm.
and it's created from human minds and human bodies. It's your minds, your hands,
Your
your,
spirit.
your spirit, your inspiration, that
Yeah.
what the stars give you,
Yeah.
what the earth gives you, and it's connection. It's about connection, and a lot of the sort of automatic stuff is disconnected.
Yes.
Yeah.
We need more connection. Connection is what we need, and that's with the drumming. That's what I'm doing with the drumming and with the singing as well. And I'm also writing a fairy tale, which is all about connection, connection with the past, the present, and the future. What is, what was, what is, and what will be. Yeah.
And that's interesting because the root cause work does that as well, because we can do future healings too, where do you, let's take you to an event somewhere down the road that you would be benefiting from now. So, again, I work with the unconscious mind. What would you like to see? Okay, 2 years down the road, what do you see? And then we didn't even talk about this. So that's the other thing, is creating the sacred writing kits to manifest that future event.
Mm, mm.
Ooh, more creativity.
And it comes down to that thing about there's no such thing as time and everything exists simultaneously and all that very esoteric kind of viewpoint
Yeah,
and
Mhm.
together.
yeah, yeah. It's ooh,
But
ooh.
you need to be connected to the reality as well. I mean, that time doesn't exist can take you off to, well, I'm in the center of the galaxy and I don't exist anywhere else. But no, no, we're the rainbow bridge between heaven and earth,
Right, right.
right here, right now.
And boy, does that not align with where the noodle nodal axis is right now.
I was just gonna say, I just wrote about this today. Yes, that's what came to me in the daily this morning, is we've got that Virgo Pisces. So not
Yeah,
only do we have a sun opposite Neptune kind of thing, But right next to it, we've got the nodes talking about that rainbow bridge, right? Between us being, having the physical experience, but also being spirit and moving toward a greater realization of that experience.
Mm-hmm.
I love paradox. Paradox is the portal to other realities.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And and it's funny because for people who are not super familiar with 13 sign constellational astrology, this is the cornerstone of how I explain why I think constellational astrology is so important. And to me, it's like, okay, the divine God, spirit, source, whatever words resonate with you, created the cosmos, right? And when that cosmos was created, Pisces and Virgo are the two largest constellations in the zodiacal belt, and they are the bridges. You've got Virgo is the bridge from all of the development of self, getting ready to go into union with other, and then Pisces is the bridge from being in union with other to go back to the one. And they're the most complex constellational archetypal energies because we need to really understand them as those bridges. It's just, to me, there's no other way to look at why constellational is so important for us to remember and get back to.
Mm-hmm.
So, and not to be disparaging to the tropicalists, there's a lot of benefit in it. We wouldn't have the archetypes preserved of the planetary energies and the sign energies if
Yeah,
that.
but being able to take that whole system, right, that whole system, and just shift it back into a line. And that's really all we did. It isn't that we've thrown the baby out with the bathwater. It's we're essentially tropical astrologers. We've just taken the system, the Ptolemaic system. Okay, we added a 13th sign in there. Kind of messes up your math, but you'll get over it. And we just shifted it back into alignment with the sky as it is. And that's all you did, which is essentially what Ptolemy had, right? He had his system matched up the sky when he created it. We,
Yeah.
Just got an interesting sort of slight diversion since we're talking astrology, but one of the things that has really hit me lately with my researches in the historical stuff is the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. They
Pray tell.
they are really now, and somebody, a scientific astronomer who's talking about it, just sort of said, "Oh, well, they called that for historical reasons because at that time, that was the point that the sun went furthest north and the sun went furthest south." But what they really are now in true sky constellation astrology is the Tropic of Taurus and the Tropic of Sagittarius. They're not even opposite
Isn't
signs.
it funny?
nice.
That's interesting. And it just reminds us why getting back to the sky is important, you know. And not only is it, we brought the 13th constellation that actually does cross the ecliptic back into the realm of conversation, but we also went back to the true sizes of the constellation. They are not all 30 degrees equal. I'm
No.
sorry, but the Divine One did not put a cookie cutter up there,
Mm.
you know. So, and it does, it adds complexity. I totally understand that the complexity makes it more difficult to understand, but in the day of computers, this is where artificial intelligence is helpful.
When
Right.
everybody had to do the maths by hand,
Yes.
it would have been horrific,
Yeah.
which is why our ancestors applied a cookie cutter to it to make it
Right.
easier.
Yeah.
Close enough, they said. It's like
Yeah.
tuning a guitar. Oh, that's close enough for jazz.
Oh my God, that's great. That's great. Yeah. But again, we can get back to the sky because if nothing else, even if you don't ascribe to trying to do the charts yourself or anything like that, just go out there and look at the sky. You've got apps on your phone now. You can look and see, is the moon here? Is the sun here? Is Jupiter
Yeah,
here?
it's not like we're making it up. We're just looking up. And
Mhm.
I would even argue, I would even go so much as to say that everybody who's stuck on the 12, right? That the circle is 12 and a scale has 12 notes, it isn't complete without that 13th. Like a musical scale is not complete till you hit that next C. right? If you just stop playing at B,
You never resolve. Yes. Yeah. You just don't get there.
Yeah, yeah. So you can argue the 13th is one redux, right? You know that it's the end, it's the alpha and the omega. It's the end of one and the beginning of the next. But a scale isn't complete without that 13th note, which is the next octave of the starting point.
Yes.
That's how I look at 13 sign. And then, and in many ways, the relationship between Ophiuchus and Scorpius says exactly that, because they're right on top of one another instead of next to each other at all.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, it's really fascinating. So we encourage you all to keep exploring the stars, and Radical Astrology on Facebook, Cosmic Reflections on Facebook. All you got to do is go search for them by those terms, request to be part of the page, and you'll be approved. I mean, unless you have a reason not to be. And then Maria and I do our Holistic Health Happy Hour, usually commensurate with each new moon and each full moon. Lately, we've been doing the new moon live and the full moon on replay. And of course, the live is always available on replay. We try to bring in different approaches to working with the moon energy at that time. This last one for the Pisces moon, we talked all about hydration, different ways you can hydrate relative to where your natal moon is. So, yeah, I had a conversation with people about that today, so that was kind of fun. So, yeah, it was good. Anything else we want to throw out before we stop the live?
I guess, I mean, and yes, we were sort of pitching each other's products here. So if you would like to know more about Julie's root cause therapy, her website is Your Best Hopes WC.com. Your best, and do inquire about it, because it will change your life.
And I do discovery calls, so if you're not sure, you don't know what it means, how do I use it, just ping me on my website. I'll be more than happy to answer questions. Because for me, it's about the journey of helping you be empowered. It's, I have the luxury of being able to do this because I love it. So just hit me up. I'm more than happy to discuss what options you have out there. So yeah, yourbesthopeswc.com. You can read all about it. See what other offerings I have. I do marry the astrology with the root cause therapy and life path empowerment. There's all sorts of things we do. And then, my dear friend, if people want to get this new kit and spend some time with you for their own personalized special sacred writing kit, how do they reach you again?
Vianne, VIANNE, at venus-13.com.
Right. Yes.
Or you could just go to venus-13.com, and I have a chat feature, but it's, Vianne at Venus13. And I'm sure you'll put this in the thing that goes.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll put it all out there. So,
email me. Yeah, I am happy to talk to anybody.
And any suggestions or ideas, or hey Maria, I'm looking to do this. I'm sure people can, or I'd love the idea of the kit you just offered, but can I add one more thing? Or how do I work with, or why did you pick this?
Have you ever done one for the star? Yada yada.
Yeah. It'd be great. And Melody, for the people in your local community, tell about your drum circles.
Well, my drum circle is at Smith's Alternative in Canberra City, and it's on 3 to 5 in the afternoon, on every third Friday afternoon. So we've just had one the 20th of September. The next one, I believe, is the 18th of October. So if anyone from Canberra or the vicinity happens to be around. I'm also playing some music at Smith's next Tuesday night.
Ooh.
Starts at 6:30.
So Maria, I think we need a sacred writing kit to get us to Australia.
I do. I know. Yes.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. I'm going to sign us off, and we'll get the replay posted. So for those of you joining us on replay, thank you. And again, if you have any questions, just go to our website, send us a message, and we'll be happy to answer the questions. All right. Thank you, everyone.